For this project, any category 4 yarn will work, but I used a skein and a half of Lion Brand's Pound of Love in the color navy. As for tools, a 5mm hook, stitch markers, scissors, a tape measure with the optional tapestry needle and buttons. We're using 5 stitches for this project and they will be as follows. Chain, slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet. This tutorial is for a size small, but you can adjust it for your size, and we explain how to in the video, so let's get started. Getting this cardigan started, we're first going to grab our category 4 yarn, make our slip knot, grab our 5mm hook, and we're going to start off by making a chain that goes from our side inwards towards where we want our cardigan to end, keeping in mind that we will have about an inch border along the outside, and also keeping in mind that this needs to be divisible by 3. And just to let you guys know, I have a total of 8 inches or 20 centimeters. Now that we have our chain, our first row is going to be super simple. All we're going to do is block off that last chain that we made, do a chain up of 3. This counts as a double crochet. From here, we're going to prepare for a double crochet, and then go into that loop that we blocked off with our thumb or the 4th loop from our hook with a double crochet. Let's do 1 double crochet together, just a little bit more slowly. We're going to prepare for a double crochet, insert our hook into that next loop, yarn over, pull through. We should have 3 loops on the hook. Once we have that, we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is our double crochet. But when we have that down, we are going to be putting 1 double crochet into every loop that we have in our chain, going all the way back down. We've just made our way all the way down our chain, doing 1 double crochet into every loop that we had, and I have also added in some stitch markers right where we need to do our different panels. So earlier I said that we needed to make sure that our chain was in increments of 3. And that's because we're going to be working in 3 different panels. So into this first panel, we're going to be doing our horizontal ribbing. In the middle, we're going to do an alpine, and then along the outside over here, we're going to do some more horizontal ribbing. And this is all going to be done in one piece, so just stick with me. It's going to be fairly simple. But what we're going to do to start this off, once we have added in our stitch markers, is we're going to start off with doing a chain up of 1, flip our work, and then from this corner that we're at to where we inserted our stitch marker, we're going to be doing back loop slip stitches. So into this first back loop that we have, we're going to insert our hook, we're going to yarn over, pull through everything on our hook, and that is our back loop slip stitch. Let's do just one more together. We're going to insert into that back loop, yarn over, pull all the way through, and that is it for this section. Go ahead and continue to do that all the way down until we reach our stitch marker, and then I'll show you guys what to do from there. So this is what we have. We have our back loop slip stitches going all the way down until we have reached our first stitch marker, and now we're going to be working on this middle chunk that we have, and this is going to be easy for this row. This is just going to be single crochets into the loop just like regular. So into this next available loop that we have, we're going to insert our hook into that loop with a regular single crochet. And we're going to keep doing this all the way down until we reach our next stitch marker, and then once we reach the next stitch marker, we're going to do more back loop slip stitches, but we will start those off together. This is what our piece looks like in its entirety so far. We have our double crochet row, back loop slip stitches. Once we hit our first stitch marker to our next stitch marker, we have a little chunk of single crochet directly on top of that. And then from this stitch marker down to the other end, we're going to go in with back loop slip stitches. So we're just going to do the first together and then go from there into this next available loop that we have. We're going to insert our hook in through that back loop, yarn over, pull through everything on the hook. And we're going to keep doing this all the way down. Once we reach the end, we're going to do a chain up of 3. That will count as a double crochet, and then I'll show you guys what to do from there. We have made it to the end, and we have added our chain up of 3, and for this first chunk from where we're at to our first stitch marker, we're going to do back loop double crochets. So this first one counts as a double crochet. Like I said, we're going to prepare for another double crochet, insert our hook into that next available back loop, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is our first back loop double crochet. Let's do one more together. We're going to prepare for a double crochet into this next back loop, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and keep doing this until we get to our stitch marker loop again, and then we're going to be working on our alpine stitch from there. We now have our first chunk of back loop double crochets, and as you guys can see, there's some really pretty ribbon going on. And we are at our first stitch marker, and now we're going to do our alpine stitch from this stitch marker to the next. So all we're going to do to start this off is prepare for a double crochet, and then into this next available loop that we have, we're going to be going in through this back post. So basically just a bunch of front post double crochets. So into this next post that we have, we're going to prepare for a double crochet. We're going to be sliding our hook behind this double crochet post that we have in the previous row. Just like that, we should have 3 loops on the hook, and from here we're going to double crochet kind of like normal, just with a little bit more to it. We're going to yarn over, pull through, and then once we get to this spot, we're going to yank our work up just a little bit so that it becomes even with this double crochet row that we just did. Then when it is all level, we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is our first alpine stitch. Once we have that, the next loop that we're going to go into is the regular loop, so the ones up top that we normally go into with a regular double crochet. But once we get there, we're going to take a look at the back. There's going to be an available loop right here. We're going to skip that loop and then go into the one after that, but that loop is basically taken over by this alpine that we just did. If we go into this loop, then we'll end up increasing our work, which is what we don't want. So we're going to skip this guy. We're going to prepare for a double crochet, take a look at the back, skip this loop, go into the loop after that, the regular double crochet loop with a double crochet, just like that. Let's do this one more time. We're going to prepare for a double crochet, but this is going to be a front post double crochet because we're alternating. Since this last one was a regular double crochet, we're going to skip this double crochet post that we have right here, and then into the one after that, we're going to be inserting our hook behind this post. So insert your hook behind this double crochet post in the previous row, yarn over, pull through. We're going to yank up just a little bit so that everything is level, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and now we have front post double crochet, front post double crochet. And then once we have that, we're going to be doing another regular double crochet, so let's do that together. Prepare for a double crochet. We're going to skip the next loop that we have in the back, go into this next loop right here with a regular double crochet, and that is it. We have our little chunk of front post double crochet, front post double crochet, and double crochet, and we're going to continue doing that all the way down until we reach our next stitch marker. And then from there, we're going to be doing back loop double crochets. So go ahead and continue on with this section of our alpine stitch, and then I'll meet you guys back so that we can do this last half together. We now have our chunk of alpine stitches that goes from the first stitch marker that we have down to the second in our little middle chunk right here. And then from here, we're going to go in with back loop double crochet so that it can match this side that we have right here. This is going to be super easy. We're going to prepare for a double crochet into this next available back loop, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. Go ahead and keep doing this all the way down. Once we make it to the end, we're going to chain up 1, and we're going to be doing our row of back loop slip stitches to single crochets to back loop slip stitches again. So that's going to be in between all of our double crochet rows. So I'll meet you guys back just one more time so that we can do this sequence again. We've now made our way all the way down with our second row of double crochets, and I'm using air quotes because it's double crochets but also front post double crochets for the alpine stitch. But we made it all the way down, and now we're going to do another row of back loop slip stitches to singles to back loop slip stitches so that we can maintain this ribbing right here, and also so that we can have loops for our alpine stitch. So in between each of these double crochet rows, we're going to do a chain up of 1, flip our work, and then from here we're going to be going into every back loop for this first chunk, every back loop with a back loop slip stitch until we reach our middle portion where we're doing our alpine stitch, and then from there we're going to be doing regular single crochets. We've now made our way over to where our alpine stitch is. It's on the reverse side, but if we flip it over, it's right here. And all we're doing is going in with some single crochets. And we've just made our way past our alpine stitch section with our single crochets, and now we're going to go back in with back loop slip stitches together. Now that we've made it into our last loop, we're going to do a chain up of 3. We're going to flip our work, and we're just going to take a look at what we have so far. We have a row of double crochet, a row of back loop slip stitches to single, that's behind the alpine, our next row of double crochet, and then another row of back loop slip stitches to singles. And now we're going to do another row of double crochet, but we're just going to stick with each other for this next section because everything else will be the same, but for the alpines, our front post double crochets will start to stagger. It's exactly the same, we're just going into different front posts. So I'll just show you guys how to do that when we get there. But for this section, you guys will already know how to do this. We're going to prepare for a double crochet. Go into that first double crochet back loop with another double crochet. Keep doing this until we reach our alpine stitches, and then I'll show you guys what to do from there. We've now made our way over with our back loop double crochets over to where our alpine stitches start. And like I said, they're going to start to stagger a little bit. So into this first loop that we have into this section, we're just going to be going in with one regular double crochet. So we're going to prepare for a double crochet. We're going to be going in through both of those loops with a double crochet. And by staggering, I mean into this regular double crochet that we did into this alpine row that we had in the previous row. We're going to be going into the front post into this guy. So we're going to prepare for a double crochet, go into this front post double crochet, yarn over, pull through, yank up just a little bit, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And as you guys can see, here is one alpine stitch and here's the next, and it's going to keep going into those little windows that we leave for ourselves for every row after this as well. But from here, we're going to prepare for a double crochet. Same rules apply. We're going to skip one loop in the back, then insert our hook into the next available loop with a double crochet. And then let's do just one more of these front post double crochets together. Prepare for a double crochet into this next regular double crochet that we have in the previous row. We're going to go behind that post, yarn over, pull through there, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we have our next alpine. And from there, put a regular double crochet and keep doing this all the way down until we reach our next stitch marker, and then we're going to be going in with back loop double crochets from there. We made our way down with our little chunk of alpine stitch, and what we're going to do from here is back into back loop double crochets from this section on over to the end. So we're going to prepare for a double crochet into this next available loop. Remember, we're still skipping that loop. So into this next available loop, go into that back loop with a double crochet. And we're going to keep doing this all the way down once we make it to the end. Since we have just finished our double crochet row, we're going to be going in with back loop slip stitches until we reach the middle chunk. We're going to do single crochet from there. And then once we get to the end of the middle chunk, back loop slip stitches all the way to the end. And then you guys already know, chain up 3 and then go in with back loop double crochets, our alpine stitch, making sure that our front post double crochets are going into the windows that we have, and then closing off with more back loop double crochets. And we're going to keep doing this until we reach where we want our V-neck to start, and then we will start cutting into our shoulder. So go ahead and keep doing this for as long as you guys need. We now have a good majority of our front panel all finished up. As y'all can see, this is where our ribbing is, our alpine stitch in the middle, and then more ribbing on the side. And this is where we're going to start doing the decrease so that we can form the V for the V-neck portion of the collar. And from where I stopped, noting that I ended on a slip stitch / single crochet row, But where that ended, all the way down to where we started, I have a total of 16 inches or 41 centimeters. But now all we're going to do is basically the same thing. We're just going to start decreasing on one side, but only decreasing in the rows that has the double crochets. So into the rows that have our slip stitches and single crochets, we're going to leave those alone. And in order to show you guys, I made sure that I ended on that row so that we can do our double crochet decreases together. So let's do that right now. So the last thing that we did was our slip stitches to single crochet to more slip stitches, and now we're going to do a chain up of 3. That's how we start off all of our double crochet rows. We're going to flip our work, which mine is already flipped, and then into these first 2 back loops we're going to be doing a decrease, and then everything else will remain the same. So from here we're going to prepare for a double crochet. Into this first back loop that we have, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, pull through, into the loop right after that, yarn over, pull through, and then once we have that, we should have 4 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is our decrease on this side. And then from here we're going to continue the pattern exactly the same as how we were doing it. So put 1 back loop double crochet until we get to our alpine section, continue doing the alpines, and then we're going to, once when we get here, continue doing our back loop double crochets. And then we're going to chain up 1, work our way back with back loop slip stitches to single crochets to more slip stitches. And then when we're ready to start up our next double crochet row, we are going to be decreasing again on the same side. So I'll meet you guys back once when we have worked our way back so that we can decrease together just one more time, and then we'll go from there. We've made our way all the way back down to the beginning of our row, and now we're going to chain up 3, flip our work, and then do another double crochet decrease row. So we're here, we're going to do a chain up of 3, that counts as a double crochet. We're going to flip our work, and then into the first 2 back loops we're going to be doing another decrease just like how we did in the previous row. So we're going to prepare for a double crochet, insert your hook in through that first back loop, yarn over, pull through, in through the next back loop, yarn over, pull through. Once we have that, we're going to yarn over, pull through all 3, yarn over, pull through 2. And the rest of this is going to be exactly the same. Go ahead and keep doing this where we decrease on the same side, only in our double crochet rows until this reaches all the way up to the tip of your shoulder. But if it doesn't reach the tip of your shoulder, we will meet each other back so that we can do a decrease into the alpine stitch as well. But if yours does fit up until your shoulder, then lucky you. Go ahead and get started on your next panel. So I've made it all the way down with doing our decreases, and I no longer have any of these back loop double crochets to go into. As y'all can see, it has slowly tapered up until I've reached my alpine stitch, but I'm actually going to keep decreasing just for a couple more rows to get the perfect length that I want, but we're going to have to start decreasing right where the alpine stitches are. So how we do that is actually we're going to be decreasing into the single crochet row that is right before we go into the alpine stitch row. Not everyone is going to need to do this, so if you don't, then go ahead and get started on your second panel, and then I'll meet you guys back to do the decrease portion for that in a minute. But if you guys want to decrease just a little bit more like me, then go ahead and do what I'm doing. We have finished up this last row that has made our way all the way up to the alpine stitch row. As you guys can see, this is our last regular double crochet, which is our chain up of 3. And then we went all the way down, and then we kept this part regular, which was back loop slip stitches, all the way until we got to our single crochets that go over the alpine stitches. And then once when we get there, we're going to keep going until we just have 2 loops left on top. So we have just a couple more loops left to go into. I'm going to do some regular single crochets into these guys, and then these are the last 2 loops that we have, and we're just going to go in with a regular single crochet decrease into those last 2 loops. So we're going to insert our hook into that first one, yarn over, pull through, insert your hook into that last loop, yarn over, pull through, and then we should have 3 loops on the hook. From there we're going to yarn over, pull through all 3, and that's how we're going to decrease when we meet our alpine stitch row. But once we get here, we're going to do a chain up of 3. We're going to flip our work, and then this part is going to differ all depending on what row you guys ended on for your alpine stitch. You guys are just going to eyeball and see the next double crochet that you guys have right here. As you guys can see, mine is a regular double crochet, so I'm going to start my alpine stitch into this double crochet. But if yours starts on one of these guys, which is the front post double crochet, then you're going to start off by putting just a regular double crochet into the loop on top of that. So basically whatever is right next to this chain up of 3 in the previous row, you're just going to do the opposite directly on top. But let's start this off together really quickly. I'm going to prepare for a double crochet and then go into this first loop with a front post double crochet. We're going to insert our hook right behind that post, yarn over, pull through, yank up just a little bit, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then from here everything else is going to be the same. Keep doing your work all the way down. Once we reach the end, we're going to chain up 1, do rows of back loop slip stitches, and then do regular single crochets until we just have 2 loops. Do a decrease into those 2 loops on this side, and then continue doing that pattern all the way up until you guys get the length that you guys want. So I'll meet you guys back to let you guys know the measurement that I have. This is the piece that I have once when I am all finished up with doing our rows of decrease. And from where we ended up here all the way down to where we started, I have a total of 25 inches or 64 centimeters. And from where we started all the way up to our blunt point, we're going to need to do another one of these, and then we're going to decrease again, but instead of decreasing where we start our row, we're going to decrease where we end our row, because this is going to be the V-neck portion. So we're going to need it to cut in this way, and then also need it to cut in this way. So go ahead and make your blunt section, and then I'll meet you guys back so that we can decrease together. I just so happen to already have mine done. And from here, we're just going to go in with our row of double crochet rows going all the way down, but we're going to leave the last 3 loops so that we can decrease together. We just worked all the way down this double crochet row that we had, and we left the last 3 loops. And into the next 2 loops, we're going to do a decrease and then do a regular double crochet into the last loop. So let's just start this off together because everything else is going to be the same. I just wanted to show you guys where to do it. Once we get here, we're going to prepare for a double crochet. Into this next available loop, we're going to insert, pull through, insert into the next back loop, pull through. We should have 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is our decrease. And then we just have 1 more loop left on our work, so we're going to prepare, insert with a double crochet, and that is our first decrease. And then we're just going to start up the next single crochet row. So we're going to chain up 1, and then we're just going to start off by putting 1 back loop slip stitch into every loop going all the way down. And this pattern is going to be exactly the same. We're going to decrease into the last loop that we have right here, and then we're going to keep going until we have the same length as the other panel that we have. And then once we have that, we are going to cut and tie and then start working on the rest. This is what we should have once when we are all done with both of our front panels. As you guys can see, I'm laying this the way that we're going to wear it. We have a nice deep V here, and now that we have these guys, I have cut and tied, and then I'm also ready to get started on the back portion, so we can put this away and then we'll get started on that right now. To start the back portion, it's going to be exactly the same as the front panels, just a little bit bigger. So we're going to need to measure from shoulder tip to see how wide we need our back portion to be. And just to let you guys know, I have a total of 16 inches or 40 centimeters. So we're just going to grab our category 4 yarn, our same 5mm hook, and start off by making a chain. That's the measurement that we have. Also making sure that it is divisible by 3 again. Now that we have our chain, we are going to block off that last chain, do a chain up of 3 that counts as a double crochet, and from here prepare for a double crochet, insert our hook into that loop that we blocked off, or the 4th loop from the hook, with a double crochet. And we're going to keep going all the way down our chain, putting 1 double crochet into every loop that we have. I am all finished up with our first row of double crochet, and I went ahead and put in my stitch markers. But I do want to talk to you guys about this really quickly. This is all going to depend on what pattern you guys want. Taking a look at just one of our stitch markers that I've placed into this double crochet row that we just did, I have actually went back and counted and saw how many loops I had on the front panel that we have, and then I went into the double crochet row that we just did, and then counted through and inserted my stitch marker right where the alpine stitches would start. If you guys want this to be completely even, then go ahead and just count out, see whatever you guys have, and then insert your stitch markers into whatever design you guys want to do. But I'm doing it this way so that once when we connect the shoulder portions, it'll look like this alpine stitch is just rolling up and over your shoulders so that this all lines up, but this is all up to you guys. But now that we have all that said, I'm going to go in with our row of back loop slip stitches to single crochets, and that will be exactly the same as we did the front portion. And so I will not bore you with those details since you guys already know how to do that. Go ahead and do this entire back chunk until we have however many rows that we have as the front panel. So I will meet you guys back in a little bit, and then we'll move on from there. We now have the majority of our back piece done, and all we need to do now is do a decrease on both ends of our double crochet rows so that we can have a little scoop right where our butt is. I know that you guys already know how to decrease, but we're just going to start this off with each other really quickly. So what we're going to do is start off by doing a chain up of 3 that counts as a double crochet, flipping our work, and then we're going to take a look and see where our next 2 loops are. We're going to prepare for a double crochet, go into that next back loop if we can. There we go. We're going to yarn over, pull through, and then into the next back loop, yarn over, pull through. We should have 4 loops. We're going to yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 2. And then from here, continue doing the same pattern all the way down, leaving the last 3 loops, and then we will be doing a decrease into the 3rd and 2nd to last loop, and then putting 1 back loop double crochet into the last. And we're going to keep doing that until we get the length that we want for our little booty scoop. This is what we should have once we have our little chunk of decreases all finished up. You guys could have gone more or less, all depending on the style that you guys want. But from where we started doing our decrease down to where I ended, I had a total of 5 inches or 13 centimeters on top of the length that I already had for the body portion. And the next thing that we're going to do now is we're going to connect the shoulders and then connect the sides, and then we're going to do the arms. Now, connecting our shoulder portion, we're just going to need to take a look at a couple things right before we get started. We're going to want to, 1, make sure that our work is flipped inside out. So our alpine stitch for the back will be facing us, and the alpine stitch that we have for the front panel will be facing the alpine stitch for the back. So it's going to be sandwiched like this. So if you take a look, this is the back. Take a look at this side, this is the back as well. And then once we have that, we're also going to want to make sure that our front panels are forming a V-neck. So making sure that our diagonal points that we have are along the inside and not where the arm portion is, because that is going to remain straight. So once we have this, we can now attach our shoulder portion to the back, which is going to be super simple. We're just going to go in with a row of single crochet, sandwiching the front and the back panel together. We are ready to connect everything together, and this next part is going to be pretty simple. We're just going to want to make sure that our double crochets align with each other. If you guys did it the same way that I did, if you guys didn't, then go ahead and get yours the way that you guys want it. But now that ours is aligned, we're first going to insert our hook in through the front panel, which is right here, and then also in through the back panel. We're going to insert our yarn, pull through, and we're going to chain up 1 to secure. And then from here, we're just going to be going in with a row of single crochet, making sure that we're going in through the front and the back panel at the same time. So into the next available loop that we have in the front panel, we're going to insert our hook, and then into the next available loop that we have in the back panel, insert our hook into there, and we're going to single crochet. Let's do this just one more time together. Into the next available loop in the front panel right here, and then also into the next available loop. Ooh, let's make this nicer. Like that? Okay, and then into the next available loop that we have in the back panel, this one right here, and single crochet. And from here, we're going to keep doing this all the way down until we don't have any more front panel to go into. We're going to cut and tie once we get there, and then do the same thing that we have on the other side. We are back, and you guys have just finished connecting the shoulder portions together, and I have just finished doing one entire side, so our sleeve and all, and we are about to do that right now. But before we do that, we're going to need to go along this side with a row of single crochet, going into each side double crochet and into each slip stitch row that we have, going all the way down. We're ready to start going in with our row of single crochet along the entirety of the border that we have, and that's going to be pretty simple. The first thing we're going to do is insert our hook in through this corner loop, insert our yarn onto our hook, and chain up 1 to secure. And then once we have that, the first loop that we have is our side double crochet, and y'all already know the deal. We're going to be going in with 1 single crochet into our side double, and then 2 single crochet into our side double. So 2 single crochet into each side double crochet loop that we have, but also we're going to be going into this side slip stitch row that we have as well. And there's not going to be any pretty loops for us to go into, so we're just going to have to pick one and just put 1 single crochet in where this side slip stitch row is. And now that we have these 3 single crochet, we're back at our side double, so we're going to do the next bit together as well. So here's 1 single crochet into this side double, and here is 2 single crochet into this side double, and we're back at our slip stitch row. Insert with 1 single crochet. Now we're going to keep doing this all the way around the entirety of this border that we have, including our booty scoop that we have where we did our decreases. And once we get to the end, we are going to cut and tie, and then we're going to connect everything together from there. We've just finished up going in with a row of single crochet along the entirety of our piece that we have, going all the way through the front, up and over the shoulder, through the back. And now what we're going to do is try this on and figure out where we want to insert our armholes. And I have went ahead and already inserted my stitch markers, and just to let you guys know, I do want my armholes to be just a little bit smaller. I want this to be a fitted sleeve. So from the bottom of where I have my blunt portion, not counting the booty scoop, from the bottom of my front portion all the way up to where I have my stitch marker, I have a total of 24 inches or 61 centimeters. Or if you guys want to go from the shoulder coming down, then I have a total of 8 inches or 20 centimeters. But once when we have that, we're going to now flip our work inside out so that our seam can be on the inside, and then we're going to go in with a row of single crochet connecting the front panel and the back panel together. We have flipped our work inside out, and now we're going to go in with a row of single crochet. And in order to do this, I'm going to start where I have my stitch markers, because obviously the front and the back portion are uneven. So once when we get here, we're going to insert our hook in through each loop that we have our stitch markers in. So once in through the front panel, take this stitch marker out, and then once through the back panel, take this stitch marker out. And this part's going to be super simple. We're going to insert our yarn onto our hook and have it stay there. Let's try this again. There we go. We're going to pull through, and then we're going to chain up 1 to secure. And then once we have that, we're going to be going in with a row of single crochet going in through the front panel and the back panel at the same time, making sure that everything is secure. So let's just do the first one together, because I know that you guys already have this. But in through this first available loop, we're going to insert our hook in through the front panel, and then into the next available loop that we have in the back panel, insert. From here, we're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And that is our single crochet. We're going to keep doing this all the way down, making sure that we're going in through the front and the back panel at the same time until we reach the end of our front panel. Then we're going to chain up 1 and cut, and then we can start working on the sleeve. We've just got done seaming up our sides. As you guys can see, it's going to be along the inside right here. And we have left an armhole for ourselves. And the first thing that we're going to do is go in with a row of double crochet for our armhole. So how that's going to work is we're going to take a look at this bottom section right here. Obviously, this line that you guys see is our seam that we have along the inside. The first thing that we're going to do is insert our hook in through the loop that we have on one side of the seam, and then we're going to do a decrease. So we're going to attach this loop over to this loop, and then we're going to cinch this in so that there's no hole right here. And then from there, we're going to go all the way around with a row of double crochet. So we're first going to insert our hook in through the loop that we have on this side. Insert our yarn through our hook. We're going to pull this through, and then before we do anything else, we're going to take a look at the loop that we have on the other side of our seam. Insert our hook in through there as well. Once we have that, we're going to yarn over, pull through everything. And now this is all cinched up. And then from here, we're just going to do a chain up of 3, because that always counts as a double crochet. Chain up 1, 2, 3, and then into the next available loop that we have, we're going to go in with a double crochet. So prepare for a double crochet into this next available loop. We're going to go in with 1 double crochet. Prepare for another double crochet, go into the next loop with another double crochet. And keep doing this all the way around. Once we make it to the end, we're going to connect into this chain 3 with a slip stitch, and then we're going to be going in with a row of back loop slip stitches, but we're going to be going back the same way that we just came so that we can maintain the ribbing that we have along the side portion of the cardigan. So I'll meet you guys back once when we're done with this row. We've made it all the way around with our row of double crochet, and like I said, we're going to slip stitch into this chain 3 that we did to start off this row. So all that is counting up 1, 2, 3 loops, inserting your hook into that third with a slip stitch. So we're going to yarn over and just pull through everything. Once we have that, we're going to do a chain up of 1. We're going to flip our work, and then we're going to go in with a row of back loop slip stitches so that we can have some ribbing along the sleeves as well. So I'm just going to do the first 2 with you guys. Into this first back loop, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, pull through everything. That is 1 slip stitch, and the next one is into the next back loop, yarn over, pull through everything. And that's basically going to be the pattern all the way up until we get to our elbow, because from there we're going to start tapering it in just a little bit. But once we make it all the way around with our back loop slip stitches, we're going to chain up 3, work the way that we just came with a row of back loop double crochets. Once we finish that, chain up 1, back loop slip stitches, working the way that we just came, and keep going back and forth like that until we get the length that we need. And then I'll meet you guys back to show you guys the length and also where to decrease as well. We now have a majority of our sleeve all done from the shoulder going all the way down to where I ended. I have a total of 7.5 inches or 19 centimeters. But when we have made our way to this point, we should be right where our elbow is. And then we're just going to add a couple more inches to that while we do some decreases so that this can taper in towards our arm right before we start to do the cuff. So in order to get started on the next row, we are going to do some decreases, and this is going to depend all on this type of sleeve that you want. But what I'm going to do is do a chain up of 3 that counts as a double crochet. We're going to flip our work because that's what we've been doing. Once we have that, I'm going to be doing a double crochet into the next 12 loops, and this chain up of 3 counts as 1. So we're going to prepare for another double crochet, insert into this next loop with just 1 double crochet, and that counts as 2. And we're going to keep going until we have 12, and then into the 13th and the 14th loop we are going to be doing a decrease. We've just got in with putting 1 double crochet into the next 12 back loops that we have, and what we're going to do from here is do a back loop double crochet decrease. So into the 13th and the 14th loop we're going to do a decrease. We're going to prepare for a double crochet, insert our hook into that 13th loop, we're going to yarn over, pull through. Once we have that, we're going to insert our hook in through the next loop, yarn over, pull through. We should have 4 loops on our hook, making sure that we're going in through the back loops for both. We're going to yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 2. And that is basically it. We're going to continue this pattern all the way around. And once we make it to the end, we're going to connect with a slip stitch, and then we're going to slip stitch up 1, and then we're going to flip our work and remain doing the back loop slip stitches all the way around, just putting 1 into every loop. We are not going to be doing an increase or a decrease into those rows. We're only going to be doing a decrease into all of the double crochet rows that we have, and my pattern will stay the same no matter what. And we're going to keep doing this until we have a couple inches that goes past our elbow. And yeah, once we have that, I'll meet you guys back so that we can do the cuff together, and also so I can tell you guys the measurement that I have for this decrease section. I have just finished up doing my little chunk of decrease rows, and from where I started all the way down to where I ended, I have a total of 3 inches or about 8 centimeters. And then once we get here, I am ready to start working on my cuff. But these are 3/4 length sleeves. If you guys want this to be longer, then go ahead and continue on with your sleeve for as long as you guys want. But since we are ready to start on the cuff, let's start off by measuring out and seeing how long we want our cuff to actually be. I want my cuff to be about 2.5 inches or 6 centimeters. So from where we ended, we're just going to start off by making a chain that comes out to whatever length we want our cuff to actually be. Once we have our chain, what we're going to do is block off that last chain that we just did. We're going to start off by doing a chain up of 1, and then we're going to insert our hook into that chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, with a slip stitch. So we're going to insert, yarn over, pull through everything on the hook. And then from there, we're just going to go down our chain, putting 1 slip stitch into every loop. And then once we get to the base, we're going to be doing a slip stitch into the back loops to maintain just 1 more row of this ribbing that we have right here. But I'll show you guys how to do that once we make our way all the way down our chain. We just finished up doing our slip stitches going down the chain that we just made, and now that we are at the base, we are going to be doing a row of back loop slip stitches. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is insert our hook into the next available back loop that we have, insert our hook, and we're going to yarn over, pull through everything on the hook, and that is how we close off this first row of slip stitches. And in order to work our way up to the next row, we're going to do the same thing. So into this next back loop, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, pull through everything with a slip stitch. From there, we are going to flip our work, and then we're going to insert our hook into that next available loop that we have with a slip stitch, making sure that we're going in through the back loops because we are going to have some ridging for the cuff as well. So we're going to insert it into this back loop, yarn over, pull through everything. And we're going to do this one more time just to show you guys. Into this next back loop, yarn over, pull through everything. And we're going to keep doing this all the way down. Once we make it to the end, we are going to chain up one, flip our work, and then go back down with back loop slip stitches. And then once we make it to the base, don't forget we are going to be attaching into this next loop that we have, making sure that we're going in through the back loop. And keep doing that all the way around until we don't have any more loops to go into this cuff. And then we will connect the two sides that we have together. We're now all finished up with our cuff, and as you guys can see, there's no loops left for us to go into. So now all we're going to do is connect the first flap to the second flap that we have of our cuff with a row of single crochet, just like how we have connected the sides. So we're just going to do the first one together because it's super easy. But all we're going to do is insert our hook, making sure that it's going in through both corners, and you guys can adjust this however you guys need to so that it's easier for you guys to go into. And once we have that, we're going to make sure that our sleeve is flipped inside out so that our seam is on the inside, same side that our side seams are on. Once we have made sure of that, we're going to insert our hook into the first available loop that we have in the front panel, and then into this next available loop that we have in the second panel, and single crochet. And that's basically it. We're going to keep doing this all the way down. Once we make it to the end, we are going to cut and tie. We have just finished up doing one entire sleeve together, and as you guys already know, I've already went ahead and done my other sleeve. So at this point, go ahead and start off your next one, and then I'll meet you guys back so that we can do the bottom and then the side borders as well. Now, we are all done with the sleeves, and the next thing we're going to have to do is go in with our bottom border. And for this next part, we're going to want to figure out how long we want our bottom border to be. I already measured mine out, and I'm going to want to make a chain from the corner of 2 inches or 5 centimeters. So we'll start this off together. We're going to insert our hook into this corner loop, insert our yarn onto our hook. We're going to pull through and start off by making a chain of whatever measurement we have. We just finished up going in with our chain, and what we're going to do next is go in with a row of half doubles into every loop that we have in our chain. So all we're going to do is block off that last chain that we made. We're going to start up by doing a chain up of 2 that counts as a half double. We're going to prepare for a half double, and then we're going to insert our hook into that loop that we blocked off, or the third loop from our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3, and that is our first half double. And now that we have this first one, we're going to do the next one together. So we're going to prepare for a half double, insert our hook into this next loop that we have in our chain. We're going to yarn over, pull through. We should have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and that is our half double. And from there, we're just going to go down, putting 1 half double into every loop that we have in our chain. Once when we have done our half double crochet into every loop going back down our chain, what we're going to do is take a look at our base, and we're going to count up the next 2 available loops. So this is 1, and here's 2. We're going to insert our hook into that second loop with a slip stitch. So we're going to insert, yarn over, pull through all the loops that's on the hook, and that's how we close off this first row. Once when we have attached our half double crochet row, we're going to be going in with a row of back loop slip stitches, pretty much exactly the same as we did the body, but instead of going in with double, we have a row of half double. So we're just going to really quickly run through this because this is pretty easy. But into the next available loop, we're just going to be going in with 1 slip stitch. We're going to flip our work, And from here, we're going to go in with a slip stitch going into the back loop. So here is one slip stitch, and continue to do this all the way down. Once we make it to the end, we're going to do a chain up of 2. That counts as a half double crochet. I will actually show you guys since we're basically there. One, and my last loop right here. Once we've made it to the end, we're going to do a chain up of 2. That counts as a half double. Flip our work, prepare for a half double, and then into this next available back loop, go in with a back loop half double, and continue to do this all the way down. Once we make it to the end, we are going to count up 2 loops into the base, slip stitch into that second loop to close off this half double row. And then in order to work our way up to the next row, which is back loop slip stitches, we're going to just slip stitch up 1 loop. And we're going to continue doing this, going all the way down past this portion that we have right here where our front and back panels meet. We're going to meet back where we meet our booty scoop. We have made it all the way down. We made it past our juncture. We kept everything all the same up until we got to this corner piece. And then once we get here, we're going to need to curve our work. So we're going to do a little increase right here so that our work can start to curve, and then we can go straight down this way. So once when we get here, we are into our last loop, as you guys can see, going from our back all the way down to where we ended. It is all straight. And then once we get here, we're going to do some rows of back loop, I guess increases, like I said, but by increases, I mean it's going to start off with double, half double, single, and we're going to keep doing that, getting smaller until we get into the loop that we have that's in our back piece. Now, to do this little increase section together, this is going to be different for everyone depending on whether if you guys end on the outside like me or along the inside. The pattern is going to be the same, but if you guys end on the inside, you guys are going to start with single to half double to double. Or if you guys start from the outside like me, we're going to go from double to half double to single. So from here, I'm just going to start off with a chain up of 3 because that counts as a double crochet. I'm going to flip my work, and we are going to still be working into the back loops, but we're just going to be going in with doubles to half double to single, and we're eyeballing it because this is going to be different for everyone. So I'm just going to do a couple back loop double crochets. So there's 1, there is 2, and now I'm going to switch over to doing half doubles. So here's a couple half doubles going into the back loops still, and then we just have a couple loops left, so I'm just going to be going into those back loops with some singles. There's 1, there's 2, and we will have the same amount of loops that we had before. It's not an actual increase, it's just to make our work bigger on one side. Okay, I have the same amount, and once when we get here, we're going to be inserting our hook into the same loop into the back piece that we are currently in. We don't want to work into the base because then that'll expand it in a different way. So I'm just going to insert my hook into that same loop, pull through, and then once we have that, we're going to flip our work. We're not going to slip stitch up any other loops, we're just going to automatically flip our work. Then we're going to go in with a row of back loop slip stitches, and this part is going to be exactly the same because we want to maintain this pattern. So just do your back loop slip stitches all the way down until you don't have any more loops to go into. And then once we get to the end, we're going to do the same thing that we did here. So I'm starting off with a chain up of 3 that counts as a double crochet, and I'm going to be going in with just a couple double, a couple half double, and a couple single, making sure that we're going in through the back loops. We now have 2 rows of our increase rows. Here's the first one, here's the second. We slip stitched into that corner loop. We are going to flip our work and go in with back loop slip stitches. And we're actually going to keep doing this until we have the curve that we want so that we can start working on this portion a little bit more smoothly. So I'm just going to go in with doing a couple more, and then I'll meet you guys back so I can tell you guys what I have and also how to do the rest. Okie dokie, so we are all back, and I have finished up doing our increase rows. And just to let you guys know, this is going to be different for everyone, so please keep that in mind. But I have a total of 1, 2, 3, and 4 of these increase rows. And then just to take a look at it, when I have my last row, if I want to insert it into this next loop, which is what I will be doing, but if we just want to put our hook right there, you can see that our work is curving in quite nicely. So I'm just about done. You guys can have more or less, whatever you guys need. But like I said, I'm finished up. So when I get into my last loop, into this last increase row, I'm going to insert my hook into that next available loop because I tested it out. Everything's looking good. We're going to insert in there with a slip stitch just like how we normally would. And then from here, we're going to slip stitch into that next available loop. Flip our work and then go in with back loop slip stitches and then keep everything else the same, which is back loop slip stitches to back loop half double going all the way down once we reach this corner. But on the other side, we're going to do the same thing that we have here, but over there, and then just keep doing the rest until we are all done with this bottom border. Then I'll meet you guys back so that we can do the sides. We're now all finished up with doing our bottom border, and now all we're going to do is do just a couple more ribbing rows along the side for a little side panel, and also that's going to be there so that we can insert our buttons. As you guys can see, I have already marked off where I need my slits and my buttons to be, but if you guys are going to skip the buttons because they are optional, then you guys don't need to worry about it. Just follow the first few rows and then you guys can just have at it. But I'll show you guys how to at least start it off right now. So starting off the side border, it's actually going to be pretty simple. We're just going to insert our hook into this corner. We're going to insert our yarn onto our hook, pull through, and this is just going to be rows of single crochet for this first row. So into this first available loop, we're going to be going in with just one single crochet into every loop. Pretty self-explanatory, but we're going to keep doing this pretty much all the way around, but we will stick with each other for just a second because we will be meeting up with our side double crochets in a second, just so we can do that together as a quick refresher. Almost there. Are we there yet? Yeah, looks like it. We do have one single crochet row right here, so we're just going to go into there with one single crochet like usual. And now we are finally at our side double crochet. So we're going to keep doing this regularly, so you guys already know the deal, putting one single crochet, and then from here putting another single crochet into our side double like we always do. And then we're also going to be going into our slip stitch row just like how we did before. So we're just going to take a look at this ribbing depending on what side you guys are looking at it from. Inserting your hook, putting one single crochet in for that one row, and there we go. And then from here we're just going to continue doing this pattern all the way up until we meet this section where we started doing our decreases, and then from there we're actually going to do an increase into this last row so that this v-neck portion can be a little bit more blunt. But until we get there, go ahead and keep doing this and I'll meet you guys back. We've just single crocheted all the way down until we got to our first decrease section, so right where the v-neck is supposed to meet each other. And what we're going to do from here is go into that slip stitch row that's right in between this, I guess, basic row of double crochet and our row where we first have our decrease. Into the slip stitch row right here, we're going to be going in with an increase of 3. So we're going to have to find a loop in here, and then we're going to be putting 3 single crochets into this so that this corner can be a little bit more crispy. So we have already done our 2 single crochet into this side double. We're going to find a loop right where this row of slip stitches is. We're going to go in with 1 into that same loop, 2 into that same loop one more time, and 3 single crochet. And then when we do the next row, you'll see that this can have a really sharp curve. Once we have that, we're going to insert our hook into this next side double and go in with 2 single, just like how we've been doing. And we're going to do this all the way around, including right where our front panel meets our back panel. This is going to be a smooth corner, so just keep going all the way around and then do another increase once we get to the other v-neck portion, or I guess the other corner, and then do this all the way down. First row of single crochet for our side border checked off, And the next thing we're going to do is go in with another row of single crochet, but this is going to be back loop single crochets. And if you guys are not inserting buttons, you guys can just continue to do rows of back loop single crochets until you guys get the side panel that you guys want. But I'm going to do just one more row of this, and then we will start adding our buttons and then our slits for the buttons as well. So to get this next row started, all we're going to do is do a chain up of 1, flip our work, and then really simply into this next available back loop, I'm just going to go in with a single crochet. And we are going to do this all the way down, including where we did our increase in the previous row, right where the V-neck starts to form. We're going to do another back loop increase into there, so right where we meet our increase there, we're going to count to that second loop, and then we're going to do 3 single crochets into that second loop so that our V-neck can still form. And then we're going to continue to do that all the way down, and I'll meet you guys back so that we can talk about doing the buttons and the slits. Now, right before we get started on inserting the buttons, I'm showing you guys, these are the buttons that I am using. I will try my best to find these or link something very similar in the description if you guys do want to use these buttons, but I will warn you guys, I don't know if these are still going to be in stock because I've probably had these in my sewing kit for 10 years, if not more. But the only thing that you guys are going to want to look out for if you guys are new to buttoning like I am, take a look at the back, and the back of my buttons are basically just a loop, and these are much easier to sew in. Whereas if you get the little circle buttons with the 4 holes, you got to like go in all the holes and you got to make it pretty, which it's possible, but I don't have time for that right now. So I'm going with these, and yeah, if you guys have any questions about this, please leave a comment down below. We can figure things out together. But yeah, I'll try to have these for you guys in the link or in the description, and then we'll go from there. And then also, before we get started, let me know if you guys are getting some sailor vibes from the color of the cardigan plus these buttons, some sailor or army vibes, because that's what I'm getting, but maybe it's just because I'm watching One Piece, and that's an anime about pirates in the Navy. But either way, I'll meet you guys back. We've just made our way around with our second row of back loop single crochets, and now we're just going to talk about our button placement and then also the slits that we're going to leave for ourselves as well. And I have already measured out evenly on both sides to see where I wanted both of those to be. So for mine, this first button that I have right here, it's right underneath where we first did our decreases, so at the base of our V-neck, and this from the bottom all the way up until where I have my stitch marker is a total of 19 inches or 48 centimeters. The one that I have right underneath that is a total of 5 inches or 13 centimeters down, and from the bottom all the way up to this button, our second one, is a total of 14 inches or 36 centimeters. From here I measured down another 5 inches or 13 centimeters, and from the bottom all the way up to here it's a total of 9 inches or 23 centimeters. And then I just have one more button left, and I wanted this to be pretty close to the base, so from our third we measured about 5 inches or 13 centimeters down, and we have our fourth button, which is 4 inches up or 10 centimeters. And now that we have that, we're going to want to figure out what side we want our slits and what side we want our buttons to be. And I actually want my buttons to be on the side that I'm currently working on. Whatever side you want your buttons to be on, we aren't going to do anything on that side. So all we're going to do is just go up or down, whichever way you're going, with a row of back loop single crochets. We're going to go all the way around until we reach our first stitch marker that we have so that we can make our slits for our buttons. We've just worked our way all the way down with our next row of back loop single crochets, and I am at the stitch marker where I want to start inserting my slit. So this is going to be different for everyone. We're all going to want to measure out our buttons and see the length that we have for it. I have a total of 1/2 inch or 1 centimeter. So all I'm going to do from here is just make a chain from where I ended. And then I'm going to make a chain that fits this button length. And then I'm going to skip however many chains I just did and then insert into that next loop with a single crochet. So a quick run through of what I just said. I'm at my stitch marker and I have put my button up to where I want it, and I have about 1/2 inch or 1 inch, so I'm going to make a chain that comes out to that. Here's chain 1 and 2 for mine. Yours may be more or less. And then once we get here, I'm going to count out the same amount of chains that I just made into this section right here. I have 1, 2, and then into that next loop, we're going to go in with another back loop single crochet. And then once we have that, we can insert our button, see if it works. Just like that. Oh, there we go. It popped right through, so mine is all good. I'm going to continue to do this all the way down because all of my buttons are the same size. And then I'm going to do just a couple more rows of this back loop single crochet until I get the desired side panel that I want. And then that's basically it. We're not going to do any more slits. Once we make our way back, we're just going to go over the slits with more back loop single crochets. I'll meet you guys back once we have this border all finished up. We've just finished up doing our rows of our back loop single crochets for our side border. And as you guys can see, I've also went in and inserted 3 of my buttons. We're going to do the 4th one together, but they're going to be the same for all of them, so don't worry. But once when we get here, we're going to want to grab our button, and then we're going to take whatever yarn color that we used for the body portion of this. And then all we're going to do is just weave it in through the little loop that we have behind our button. And from here, we're just going to eyeball and see where we want to insert our button into this middle row that we have. But it doesn't matter if you guys have an even or an odd amount. It just needs to be into one of the middle rows. And then I'm just going to insert my tapestry needle in through one of these loops. So I'm going to take my yarn, insert that onto the back of my tapestry needle. And we're going to want to make sure that this is as even as possible as the loop that we made for ourselves on the other side. So I'm just going to follow this one along, insert my hook in through that one loop. I'm going to take the other side and then go on the other side of the single crochet that we just went into, so that once when it reaches the other side, we have a post that we can tie our knot against. So we're going to take our tapestry needle off. This is what the back half looks like, pretty simple. And then from here, I'm just going to do a simple double knot, but I'm going to make sure that it's really tight so that our button doesn't flop around. We have just finished up doing all of our buttons and we are so close to being done. The last thing that we have to do is just add in a pocket. So all we're going to do is figure out the length that we want our pocket to be. I want mine to be able to fit my phone. So I'm going to start off by making a chain of 5 inches or 13 centimeters. Now that I have my chain, what I'm going to do next is block off that last chain that we just did. Do a chain up of 3 that counts as a double crochet. We're going to prepare for a double crochet and then we're going to insert our hook into that loop that we blocked off, or the 4th loop from our hook, with a double crochet. And we're going to keep going all the way down, putting 1 double crochet into every loop that we have, going back down our chain. And once we make it to the end, we're going to chain up 1, flip our work, and then do back loop slip stitches, but we'll meet each other back so that we can do that together. Now that we made our way all the way down with our first row of double crochet, like I said, we're going to do a chain up of 1, flip our work, and then go into every back loop that we have with a slip stitch, just like how we did the ribbing portion of the body section. So we're going to insert our hook into that first back loop, yarn over, pull through everything. And we're going to keep doing this all the way down. Once we make it to the end, chain up 3, flip our work, and then do back loop double crochets until we make it all the way back to this end. And we're going to keep alternating like that between back loop double and back loop slip stitches all the way up until we get to the length that we want for our pocket, minus about a 1/2 inch because we're going to have a tiny little trim. I now have the majority of the size of the pocket that I want, and from here I'm just going to do a couple more rows of back loop slip stitches just along the top to give us just a little bit of a trim, just like how we have right here. Pretty much all the same, just have that little guy at the top. So all that is once when we get to the end, we're going to do a chain up of 1. I've already done that. Then into this first available back loop, insert, pull through with a slip stitch. And I'm just going to go until this little chunk that I have is about a 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to chain up 1 and not cut, because then we're going to take that working yarn that we have and then we're going to weave it in through the front panel that we have. We now have our little trim that we want. Once we have that, we're going to do a chain up of 1, flip our work, and then just along each of the sides that we have, we're just going to be going in with a row of single crochet so that it's easier for us to weave this into the cardigan later. So all this is just going in, putting a single crochet into however many loops we have right here for the trim that we made for ourselves. And then once we make it over to our first set of side double crochets, we're going to be going in with 2 single, just like that. And we're going to keep doing this all the way down. Once we make it to the bottom corner, chain up 1 and cut, then do the same thing on the other side. We've just finished up doing the single crochets along the sides of our pocket, and the next thing we're going to do is just go in with our tapestry needle or your hook, whatever you guys have. But we're just going to go in making sure that our lines that we have right here, our ribbing, aligns up with the ribbing that we have on the cardigan, and then that's basically it. I'm just going to show you guys how to start this off, but it's basically just all the same, going all the way around. We're first going to want to align our pocket wherever we want it to be. Then we're going to insert our hook in through the cardigan, starting off where the ribbing is. Then we're going to insert our hook, and then we're going to insert our yarn also through the corner piece that we have in the pocket. And that is basically it. We're just going to insert our needle, not our hook, in through this next loop. And the only tip that I have is that we are going to be going into these double crochets as well, so just try to make sure that we're going into the same double crochet column all the way down, otherwise your pocket could curve in or curve out depending on which way you go. So since I'm currently into, which one am I into? This one. I'm going to insert my needle in through there and just keep doing that all the way down, all the way through the bottom, and then up this side as well. And then once we have this done, we're going to cut, make sure everything is nice and secure, and then do the same thing for the other pocket. This is what we should have when we are all finished up with weaving in both of our pockets, and we are done with this cardigan. So go ahead and just weave in all of your ends, and you're done. You guys have no idea how excited I am for this cardigan. This has turned out even greater than I thought it would, and there's pockets, there's buttons, there's so many new elements into this, and I am just in awe with how amazing this turned out, and I could not have done it by myself. My husband helped out a lot with this design, so huge shout out to him. And if you guys appreciate his designs as well, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. It's right beneath the video. It lets YouTube and I know you're enjoying the videos, and it goes a really long way with helping the channel grow and gain traction. But if you didn't like it, go ahead and give it a thumbs down, but leave me a comment letting me know why you didn't like it, or if you have any questions, requests, or if y'all just want to say hi. We usually reply pretty quick. If you love it, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already, it's right beneath the video. It'll let you know when there's a new video uploaded to the channel, get you a bit more priority when it comes to requests, and it goes a really long way with helping the channel grow so we can keep making all these great videos for you guys. If you're already subscribed, huge thanks to you guys, but please hit that notification bell to know when there's a new upload for you right away. And don't forget to share with your friends, because every bit helps. Links to the yarn and the hooks will be in the description, and if you buy something using those links, that also goes towards helping out the channel. Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest are down there as well, guys, and thank you so much for watching. We will see y'all in the next one.